this deal about politics and political meddling, or wasn't it? That's what they're trying to get to the bottom of. Simon Rosenberg is director of the New Democrat Network and a former Clinton campaign advisor. And Neil Bortz is a syndicated radio talk show host. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. That's the question. And it comes up in the context of the secretary getting grilled on Capitol Hill and these emails that have been released that suggest, according to the administration's critics, that it was political and that there was political meddling, including, I'll start with you on this, Neil, an email that says, this is from a Solyndra board member, who wrote, the Department of Energy really thinks politically before it thinks economically, and talks about how the DOE pushed very hard, meaning Department of Energy, pushed very hard for Solyndra to hold off on its announcement of laying off 100 or plus employees until after the election. And they talk about how they wanted this bad news out of Solyndra to be postponed until after the midterm election of 2010. Neil, what does it tell us?
Well, we also have an investment advisor to Kaiser who wrote him and said that the DOE
He's the money guy behind Solyndra.
Right, thinking politically on this issue. And how strange is it that these layoffs at Solyndra happened on the day after the 2010 elections? Of course, this is all political, and Megan, it doesn't matter whether it's Republicans or Democrats in power. Seemingly, it doesn't matter. This is what you get when you get a command economy, when you have the political class deciding where the economic winners and where the economic losers are going to be, who's going to get the loan to expand their business, who is not. These are marketplace decisions. They are not political decisions. When they become political decisions, like $30 billion slush funds for Obama's dream of green energy, you're going to get corruption. And that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Simon, I mean, I think the DOE comes out and says, look, some win, some lose when you do an investment portfolio, which is what we do for taxpayers. But the stuff about, trying to delay bad news announcements out of the company until after the midterm elections, and some of these other emails that have come out that suggest some political meddling by the DOE, that leaves a bad taste in people's mouths about transparency and honesty from the administration. What does it say to you?
Well, 36 of the 38 investments in the portfolio are still kicking along and doing well. And so it's, first of all, not been a disastrous effort by the Energy Department. And I think most investors would be happy if 36 of their 38 investments actually worked out. I think in this case, at Solyndra, there are clearly mistakes made. And I think we have to learn how to do this better. It's critical for the government to be involved in making sure the clean energy future takes place. We've been subsidizing the oil and gas industry since 1918. There's been long history of subsidizing energy because of the nature of the energy business. We've got to be in it. We've got to win this arms race with the energy race in China.
I think you could win that point, but it's this other stuff that makes people upset. There were red flags and they pushed ahead with it anyway, and you got Chu going out there, according to one email or according to one of these correspondents, and telling the public that an announcement on Solyndra's loan approval is imminent and the loan is theirs as soon as they get some additional capital. And then there's an internal email at the DOE saying this nonsense has to stop. The conclusion that the loan is theirs doesn't help us in our negotiation with this company. They're suggesting that even our own energy secretary was a shill for getting this loan to a company with the red flags. That's the kind of stuff that makes people on both sides of the aisle say, I don't like how this went down.
Megan, I think there were mistakes made in this process. There's no doubt about it. And I think we have to learn from them so we can do it better, because the critical thing is we have to be competitive in this field in the 21st century. And the most important thing is not to, criticize people and lambaste them, but to do a thorough investigation of what took place. Let's make some recommendations about how we can make it better. And I think that's hopefully will come out of this process.
Neil, do you think that Mr. Chu keeps his job and ought to after this?
Well, he's been clearly, every administration, you insulate yourself from these decisions, and you always have somebody who's ready to fall on a sword. That might be Mr. Chu in this case. But as far as, well, we have to be involved in promoting this green energy, let the marketplace decide where we are going to go in our energy future. If
so, Neil, are you for eliminating oil and gas subsidies?
Wait, let him finish, because he didn't interrupt you. Go ahead, Neil.
If we're going to let Barack Obama get in the way of the expansion of these immense oil supplies that are still available to us in this country, then we are going to run into more problems like Solyndra. And as for oil subsidies, those are the same subject virtually every other